Picture this: a luxurious mansion tucked away in Sewickley, Pennsylvania. Some of the classiest cars money can buy. Think understated luxury, not just flashy sports cars. And a romantic life that's managed to stay out of the tabloids. Sidney Crosby's story away from the rink is almost as impressive as what he's done on the ice. But it's also a lot more mysterious. While most NHL stars can't resist the spotlight, Crosby's private world is a different game entirely. So, what's really going on behind the scenes with one of hockey's biggest names? Sidney Crosby. The man behind the mask isn't just a nickname. It's a reality that defines his entire approach to life and hockey. Crosby's dominance on the ice is legendary, but away from the boards, he's almost invisible by design. While many athletes embrace the spotlight, Crosby's default setting is quiet, private, and reserved. For someone who's achieved so much, he stands out as one of the most understated superstars of his era. The roots of Crosby's personality trace back to Cole Harbour, Nova Scotia, a small working-class community where family and hockey went hand in hand. Crosby grew up in a household that breathed the sport. His father, Troy, was a talented goalie who got drafted by the Montreal Canadiens but never pushed Sidney into the game. Instead, Troy and his wife Trina focused on supporting their son's passion and keeping him grounded. Sidney's love for hockey showed early. He learned to skate at 3, and by age 10, he was scoring goals at a pace that made local coaches do double takes. The Crosby basement became a makeshift rink with battered walls that Trina would joke looked like Swiss cheese after years of pucks ricocheting off them. This environment built more than just a hockey player. It shaped Crosby's character. His parents emphasized humility and discipline, values that stuck with him even as his talent drew national attention. By his teens, Crosby was already being compared to legends like Gretzky and Orr. But he didn't let the hype go to his head. Instead, he focused on improvement. "You can always get better, and you owe it to yourself to try," he once said, echoing the lessons he learned at home. Crosby's reserved nature isn't just a product of his upbringing. It's a conscious choice. While some young stars get swept up in fame, Crosby always preferred to keep things simple. He skipped out on parties and typical teenage distractions, often choosing to practice or watch game footage instead. Friends and teammates remember him as mature beyond his years with a quiet sense of humor that only those close to him would see. Max Talbot, his longtime teammate, once put it simply, with Sid, everything is about the game. He's a private guy because he wants to control the distractions. Even as Crosby's star rose, his approach didn't change. He chose to attend Shattuck St. Mary's Prep School in Minnesota, a move that took him away from home but helped him focus on his craft. There, he set scoring records and won a national title, but he still shied away from the limelight. The pattern continued into his NHL career. While other players built massive social media followings and shared every detail of their personal lives, Crosby rarely gives interviews about anything other than hockey. He's careful about what he shares, and when asked about his privacy, he's clear. "Hockey is what I do, but it's not who I am entirely." Some things are good to keep for yourself. This commitment to privacy only adds to Crosby's mystique. Fans want to know what he's like off the ice, but the truth is, most details remain behind closed doors. He values time with his family and close friends, and even now, he's more likely to spend a quiet night fishing with his dad than making a splash at a celebrity party. The result is a public image that's both relatable and elusive, a superstar who seems almost allergic to attention. Crosby's discipline and focus have never wavered, whether he's leading the Penguins to another playoff run or simply enjoying a low-key day off. His choices reflect a set of priorities that haven't changed since his days in Cole Harbour. Work hard, stay humble, and keep your circle tight. For someone who signed his first $17.5 million contract at 18, it's remarkable how little he's changed. So, while the hockey world knows Sidney Crosby for his highlight reel goals and clutch performances, the man behind the mask remains a study in contrasts. Fiercely competitive, relentlessly driven, yet almost invisible when the game is over. That's the real secret to his enduring appeal. And it raises the question, what does someone like Crosby do with all that success and wealth when the cameras aren't rolling? Inside Sidney Crosby's private world, the picture looks nothing like the typical life of a superstar athlete. While his career earnings and net worth are staggering, estimates put his net worth around $75 million. Built from over $155 million in career earnings plus endorsements, Crosby's lifestyle is defined by restraint and a focus on the things that matter most to him. Start with his home base. Crosby bought his first house in Sewickley, Pennsylvania in 2011 for $800,000. It's a 2-story place with 5 bedrooms, 3.5 bathrooms, 3 fireplaces, and a finished basement. The property sits on a quiet street about 12 miles from downtown Pittsburgh. There's nothing flashy about it, and that's exactly the point. The house is comfortable, private, and practical, a reflection of Crosby's approach to most things off the ice. He's not interested in being the center of attention when he's at home, and the property's secluded feel gives him the privacy he values. Crosby's taste in cars follows the same pattern. While some athletes fill their garages with sports cars and rare imports, Crosby sticks with vehicles that are reliable and understated. He's been seen driving a Range Rover and a Chevy Tahoe, both practical choices that don't draw much attention. These aren't the kind of cars that make headlines, but they fit Crosby's personality. Calm, steady, and not looking to impress for the sake of it. If you look at Crosby's financial portfolio, you'll find the same kind of thoughtfulness. His biggest payday came in 2012 when he signed a 12-year, $104.4 million contract extension with the Penguins. But Crosby hasn't relied on his NHL salary alone. He's built strong, long-lasting relationships with major brands like Adidas, Gatorade, and Tim Hortons. These endorsement deals bring an estimated $4.5 million a year. And Crosby is selective about who he partners with. Rather than chasing every opportunity, he focused on partnerships that fit his image and values. He's also invested in real estate and restaurants, quietly expanding his wealth without much fanfare. Crosby's private life is just as low-key. He's been in a relationship with model Kathy Leutner for over 15 years, but you won't find much about them in the headlines. The two met through friends in 2008, and since then they've kept their relationship almost entirely out of the public eye. Leutner has been seen at Penguins games supporting Crosby, but neither of them shares much on social media or gives interviews about their personal life. Their approach is simple: keep things personal and don't invite unnecessary attention. When Crosby isn't on the ice or fulfilling his obligations with sponsors, he spends his downtime in ways that are surprisingly ordinary. He loves the outdoors, especially fishing, hiking, and kayaking. He owns a lakefront property in Nova Scotia where he can escape and recharge, often spending time with family or close friends. Crosby also enjoys golfing during the off-season and has a particular fondness for snowmobiling in the winter. These hobbies aren't just about status. They're about relaxation and reconnecting with his roots in Cole Harbour. Even his entertainment choices are understated. Crosby is known to listen to podcasts, with one about coyotes being a favorite. He doesn't post about his daily routine or share glimpses of his life on social media, and that's by design. His focus remains on hockey, family, and maintaining the balance that kept him grounded despite his success. Crosby's world is shaped by priorities that haven't changed since he was a kid. Work hard, stay humble, and keep your private life private. This approach has helped him build a legacy that's as much about character as it is about championships. The result is a life that, while filled with opportunity, feels remarkably grounded. It's a reminder that sometimes the most impressive thing about a superstar isn't what you see on the surface, but what they choose to keep out of the spotlight. So, what's your take on Crosby's approach? Does his way of living set a new standard for NHL stars, or do you prefer the flashier side of celebrity life? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And who knows, maybe other hockey legends have just as many secrets. If you enjoyed this video on Sidney Crosby, check out this NHL lifestyle video. It may surprise you.